Sometimes people are successful with online courses in some kind of new niche, new opportunity, but other times people find success with something very mainstream like tennis, something that's normally very commonly taught in person, and they turn that into an online course business. That's kind of my story with teaching piano online in an online course. And my guest today has one of the most successful online courses when it comes to learning tennis online. He's doing 7 figures a year. He's absolutely killing it. You'll be hearing that story about how he did it here shortly. Stay tuned. Hey out there, it's Jacques Hopkins, and welcome back to the Online Course Show, where we talk about all things successful online course businesses. Sometimes it's just me and you hanging out. Other times it's me interviewing a successful online course creator, and the latter is what we have here today in a very mainstream niche, kind of like my niche, like I said, with piano. Florian Meier is over in Germany, and he has been running onlinetennisinstruction.com for 12 or 13 years now, and has turned it into a thriving business. And it was really a pleasure to catch up with him here today. I'm excited to share with you that conversation here in just a minute. So some lessons learned, some things that we get into. He's got multiple courses, right? When you're learning tennis, there's the forehand, there's the backhand, there's the serve, there's strategy, there's doubles, there's singles. So he has individual courses on these topics, but he kind of wraps those up into his all access pass, and that's where most of his sales come from. We talk about some of his in-person clinics. So he does have in-person lessons around the world that people can attend. That does account for some of his business, but he still relies very heavily on the online course stuff. And here is a really cool one that we talked about, is hiring other team members to be in the videos, right? As online course creators, oftentimes we're the main person. We're the one that we feel like we can be the only person on video. He's got a whole team of tennis instructors to where he doesn't have to be the only one. So we talk about how he did that, how his audience reacted to that, and so on. So a lot of great stuff to get into. Without further ado, here is that full conversation between myself and Florian. Hey, Florian, welcome to the Online Course Show.
Hey, Jacques. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure, man. So let's get to the backstory, man. How did you get into doing online tennis instruction?
Yeah, I was a tennis instructor, and I got injured, actually. So that's, I got injured, and then I saw, I was thinking about how else I can make money out of my knowledge. I figured I do know quite a bit about tennis and how to improve. And then, I saw some videos on YouTube one day. There was somebody on there, posting a couple of videos. This was early days, I think 2011, 2012, maybe something like that. And, and then I just bought a camera. I had a friend who was unemployed at the time. I told him, "You're the cameraman now, let's go." And, that's how we got started. And then we filmed the first couple of videos. We filmed in Germany indoors in the winter and indoor tennis courts. And we had times, where they were not heated at night. And so there were times when it was, it was like in Celsius, it was like -10. So I don't know Fahrenheit, what that would be. It was like freezing cold. And so I would put on a big coat in between takes and drink hot tea. And I would be in a t-shirt and then put it all off and film, and then put the big coat on again and started filming, because there was no court availability, outside of the night times at that time. So that's how we got started. And then I just made a couple of videos. It didn't make any money off of it for the first year and a half, not a single dollar. But then, started gaining some traction, building an email list, kind of studying some of the stuff that people were teaching, learning about internet marketing. And then a year and a half into it, I think I offered a video analysis, and I sold like one, even though I already had a list of, 5,000 people, probably something like that. And so it didn't sell at all, the first thing I tried to sell at the time. And then I spoke to somebody else who was in the industry, and they gave me some tips. And then I started selling a course, and I made, I think, the first course I made $3,000 maybe. And, at the time I was teaching tennis, making $40 an hour, something like that, 50, on a good day. And so I was like, wow, 3,000, for making a course is not bad. And then I got hooked a little bit, and then slowly transitioned from being a full-time coach to doing more and more of this. And then it was really a gradual transition. It was never, it was not very, from one day to the other, I was an online creator, and I still teach a little bit just because I like it. So yeah, that was kind of, it was born out of being injured, honestly. Otherwise, if I hadn't been injured, I don't know if I would still be teaching primarily, but might be doing something else. Who knows?
We get stories where it kind of seems like an overnight success, and that part of me gets kind of jealous because that was not how it worked out for me. You and I got started around the same time. I got started about 2013, and it took me well over a year to find any level of success as well. Those first few videos that you recorded in the cold, by the way, that temperature in Fahrenheit is cold. That's what that is.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Where did you post those? Were those behind some sort of paywall, or were you posting to YouTube? Where did those go?
Just to YouTube. It was just YouTube in the beginning, and then in the beginning I didn't even collect emails because I didn't know, I should be collecting emails. And then after a while I started collecting emails and building a bit of a list. In the beginning I had, 80-90% open rates for a long time. It was like really crazy open rates because I wasn't selling anything for like at least the first year.
So when you said, you didn't make $1 for a year and a half, is that primarily because you didn't have anything to sell yet?
Yes. And I didn't have a course because I didn't have the time to really produce a full course because I was teaching to earn my living, and I was injured, but I was still able to teach and make money. And so I didn't have a course. I didn't really know what else to sell at the time. And so I had offered that video analysis like maybe a year in, and one person bought it for like $50 or something. So that was the first revenue I ever made. And then it took me a long time because I was a bit perfectionist in terms of producing a course. Obviously I would do that differently today, but in the beginning I wanted to do something really good. And I thought the first course did go quite well, but it took me a while to make the first product.
Was the course always the goal when you started putting those first videos on YouTube?
I didn't even know you could like make a course and sell a course when I put the videos up. I think, I think the first guy I spoke to is a guy named Thomas Mensinger, who is still, his company is Field Tennis. He's still big on YouTube. And he was selling ebooks at the time, like PDFs. And so my first idea was to make a PDF and sell like an ebook or something like that. But then I realized, hey, video is a better format for teaching these things that I want to teach. And so, gave up on that idea and then moved on to creating a course.
Yeah, probably not the best vehicle for tennis instruction, just books and whatnot. Early 2010s, I was right there with you, right? So many people were selling $60, $70 PDFs. Yeah. And you'd hear a lot of stories about that. Online courses were not what they were today. But I knew that with piano, you kind of needed to have the video, right? PDFs work for certain niches, but not when you're interacting with physical things. You need to see these things on camera. So I was right there with you. So when you started making videos, like the end game was to monetize with some sort of your own product. You just weren't sure what that would be yet. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I didn't even know that. I didn't know how I was going to monetize. I was just looking for a way to, in the beginning, I think I really just wanted to spread my knowledge, but also I wanted to build my brand, I guess. I didn't know how I was going to make money out of it. I just thought that it would be a good idea to get started, honestly. And so in the beginning, I really had no idea how I would make money out of it. But it was the goal to make money out of it and to not be reliant on my body being fully functional, because I was coaching high performance and professional tennis players, and at the time I was younger, they expected me to hit balls with them and to be in good shape and everything. And my body wasn't really, able to do that anymore. So yeah, the goal was to build a second income stream and put my knowledge out there.
A year and a half in, hadn't made any money from it yet. Did you consider quitting?
No, honestly, no, I didn't. It's a good question. Why? I certainly had ups and downs of the motivation of how many videos I made. Certainly when didn't make any money, then I sometimes had more and sometimes less motivation. But no, because I did see that views were going up, and I did see that my email subscribers were growing, at that time. And so I guess I was, I was convinced that somehow it would work out. Because, one backstory there is, at the time, I was already very confident that what I was teaching was exceptional. That I was that I was one of the best in my field. That was my opinion at the time. And so I was confident that putting that knowledge out there would lead to something.
So the first way you tried to monetize was this video analysis, basically, and you sold one person took you up on that. Even though, did you say at the time you had 5,000 email?
Yeah, I don't remember exactly, but at least 2,000 or 3,000, on the list.
Several thousand. Okay, why do you think that wasn't so successful?
Well, it's funny because that's actually now becoming our business again. Video analysis, that's really becoming more and more of our business these days. I think at the time it was, at that time it wasn't that clear how to film yourself and send a video to somebody. A lot of people hadn't even taken video on their phone, probably. I mean, I don't know. They may have at that time. You might know this better than I do, but just filming it and sending it to somebody to analyze was such a strange idea at the time and seemed complicated. And I think, obviously that's changed. So nowadays, even we have 85-year-old customers filming their serve and sending it to us with like 2 or 3 clicks on their smartphone. And even, they figure it out. So it's just different nowadays, right? The usage of the phone.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm sure if you put the exact same offer out there today, and it sounds like you have something similar, it would get a lot better reception, because the idea of maybe filming yourself and sending it to a coach is more mainstream than it was 12 years ago. And speaking of 12 years ago, I'm on your YouTube channel right now, and in YouTube you can go to videos and sort by oldest. So I'm looking at some of your oldest videos right now from 12 years ago, and you got a lot of views, man. I don't know if maybe they didn't get as many views back then and they've just kind of added up over time, but I see one here from 12 years ago called Tennis Grips that's got almost 1 million views.
Yeah, I think it accumulated over time on that video, but it did well off the start. At the time there was no competition, right? I mean, there were like 2 other people doing this, maybe, on YouTube. So I'm not saying not zero competition, but now there's there's 1,000 tennis coaches posting on YouTube. It's not 1,000, but it's definitely over 100. And at the time there were like 3 guys doing it. So it wasn't a lot of competition. I think my content was good from the start because I was knowledgeable, so I think there's customers that with me now that started with me in 2013 and, they loved it from the start and they're still here. So I do think the quality of the videos was good. The content, at least. Now, I'm not sure about video production, but the content.
Tell me about that first course launch where you said you brought in about $3,000. Was it just one particular topic? Was it full, every aspect of tennis? And how did that process go of actually creating and launching that first course?
It was just one stroke, the forehand. So it was a forehand course. I think that course has 60 videos in it. So I kind of went all out, and probably overwhelmed people with all the stuff that I knew about the forehand. Obviously nowadays I would do that differently and streamline that a little bit more, but there's a lot in there. And so it took me a long time to produce it. And then I got a little bit lucky because one of the other guys who had been doing it a little bit longer, I don't remember if he reached out to me or reached out to him, but he had an email list that was bigger. And he, saw my videos and said, "Hey, you're doing great videos." And we got in touch. And then he promoted it a little bit to his list, that first product. And, I have no idea how big his list was then, maybe 20,000 or, I don't know. But he had a bigger email list than I did. And so he started promoting it. So I got a little bit lucky that way. But I guess lucky because he kept commenting on how good my videos are. So I guess it's not luck in that sense.
Yeah, you were ready for that. Now, was this like an affiliate relationship, or he just promoted it because
affiliate? Yeah, affiliate. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So what was that? What was that initial launch strategy? Were you following like the Jeff Walker product launch formula, or you just kind of threw it out there? How intentional was the launch?
Yeah, it was all Jeff Walker product launch formula. It was that's what everybody was doing at the time, and so I thought that's what I need to do, and so I kind of followed that whole framework. Yeah, 3 free content videos, pre-launch content videos, and then 5-6 days of hard promotion, a bunch of emails, and then some an ending to the promotion, some strong form of scarcity at the end. That's what it was. Yeah. We still use that to some extent today, but not like that.
I like that. What was the price point of that course?
I think it was either 197 or 97. I'd have to look it up.
Yeah, and you're in Germany, so at the time, and also I'm curious now, like, are you charging in US dollars or euros? What are you charging in?
Yeah, I mean, we set the prices in US dollars because 60 or 70% of our customers are from the US. And then ClickBank, translates that to euros or whatever other currency you're in.
ClickBank, that's a word I haven't heard in a while. Are you still using ClickBank?
Yeah, and I would like to use something else, but it's being located in Germany, that is challenging, because the advantage of ClickBank to us is that we are not the seller. So I'm not selling it to the customer. ClickBank is selling it to the customer, and then ClickBank is essentially, from a legal standpoint, paying me commission. And what that does is, because we're selling so many courses and these are all individual transactions, it makes the whole tax situation a lot easier. So we're really doing it to save a lot of work on the tax side. That's really why we're still using it.
So I can go to your website right now and sign up for your all access pass, or, your in-person clinics. Is that still through ClickBank, or when I buy it on your website, that's outside of it?
All the digital products are on ClickBank, and the in-person clinics are Stripe links.
Wow, that's fascinating. ClickBank used to be wildly popular. If you would have asked me before this conversation, if somebody would have asked me about ClickBank, I would have been like, I don't know if it's even still around, to be honest with you. So that's fascinating that you were on it a long time ago. You're still on it today. For those that maybe aren't familiar with ClickBank, can you kind of give a high level overview of what it is?
Yeah, it's an affiliate network, right? They, and it was used by everybody doing these cross promotions, these Jeff Walker product launch formula cross promotions back then. I'm sure a lot of people remember this, where everybody was emailing for everybody. At least that's how it was in our market and in many other markets. And everybody was using ClickBank, because then it would be very easy. 50% of the revenue would go, that's how we did it. 50% of revenue would go to me and 50% to the person that was sending the offer to their list. And then it also, the same is true for upsells and downsells. And, it was just very easy and simple to do. Now, the negative side of it is that they charge a high commission. So that's why I think a lot of people went away from it, because they charge, something around 7% or so of the gross revenue. And so, I think nowadays there are better options, where you then maybe pay 3%. And, that if you do $1 million or more a year, that adds up to being significant difference.
If you were starting over fresh today, do you think you would still choose ClickBank?
There might be other better options for this now. I do think, being located in Germany, selling to Americans, it is very, you want to get going as fast as possible, right? You want to get, sales going, and figuring out that tax situation, especially if you're selling low ticket items. Like, we were selling a lot of low ticket items, $47, $97 to hundreds of people at a time. And then over the year, thousands of people. And if they are all from a different country, it really, being located in Germany becomes a tax nightmare. You have to tax everybody different who is located in a different country. And it becomes a bit of a nightmare. So that's probably, just for simplicity reasons, it might still be a good option. If you're located in the US, I doubt it will be the go-to option right now,
Yeah, and one of my understandings of ClickBank, the advantages is that somebody else can use it as a database of products that they could promote.
Yeah.
And so would a large portion of your sales then be coming from affiliates and not necessarily from you and your audience?
Yeah, no, in our market, that never panned out. So basically, the affiliate sales we had were these cross promotions where I would know 3, 4 other guys who have a big email list of tennis players. And we would talk to each other and say, hey, let's do a promotion. And then we'd split the revenue. The way ClickBank works usually with most of the things that are popular on ClickBank is, I think, you put your offer up there and anybody who doesn't even know you can promote your offer and, just bring their traffic to that and get the commission right away. So without a personal relationship. So it's very easy. I think affiliates go to ClickBank and look for offers that fit their audience. And then they can just start promoting right away and making money. And so, but that in our market, it's a very niche market, like the people that are buying our products, there's like 10 email lists in our market. Probably almost everybody who buys our products is on one of these email lists or on several,
How did you come up with your brand name?
It was search engine optimized. I started with this thing called Site Build It, which was recommended by.
Have you heard all kinds of blasts from the past, man? Site Build It. Have not heard that in a long time.
Now, what, you are familiar with it? Okay,
I am. I believe I even used it at some point.
So this guy from Field Tennis, Thomas, who was kind enough to kind of give me some tips as I got going, he was using Site Build It, and he got good traffic to that, selling his PDFs, and he was making a couple $1,000s a month from search engine traffic, not paid traffic. It was all search engine traffic. And, I was like, wow, that sounds pretty great. You're not paying for the traffic. And so I started, when you look back you can go on the Wayback Machine or what it's called. You can look at our website. The first year or so was all text. There was no videos. It was all text. And it was like long text based, optimized for search terms on Google. And so it just turned out that, that Google search traffic is not that relevant in our market. YouTube is where it's happening. And so, but that's how I got started. Yeah.
Where's most of your traffic coming from?
YouTube is number one. And then, obviously we've built the email list over the years. We've run a lot of ads on YouTube. I would say probably 70% on YouTube, but then also Facebook ads, Instagram ads. We did some on the Google Display Network. So we bought we did some placement buys on websites. So we've kind of done everything, but YouTube is still kind of the number one engine.
Well, you've got 121,000 subscribers on YouTube. But you mentioned YouTube ads, right? Is more of your traffic coming from organic YouTube or from the ads?
Used to be more from the ads. We've paused our ads for the last 6 months. We ran them consistently for like 5 years on YouTube. We've paused them because we're currently redoing our entire product and pricing structure. So we've paused them to work on that. And we'll start them back up, hopefully soon. But it was always, so most of the people on our list came from YouTube ads and these big affiliate promotions initially.
Now I'm sorted by latest on YouTube, so you guys are still regularly putting out quite a bit of content on YouTube. What would you say is your overall YouTube, like organic YouTube strategy as a course creator, right? So, some YouTubers, their strategy is just, hey, let's get as many followers as possible. We'll rely on the ad revenue. But as a course creator, what is your overall YouTube strategy?
Yeah, we're not the best at this for sure, because we focused primarily on paid advertising over the last, I would say, 6-7 years. So we never tried on YouTube organic. We just upload stuff, to be honest. So if we had tried, I'm sure we would have a lot more subscribers, but it was never really the main reason we uploaded videos on YouTube for free was to keep our email list engaged with free content, and I've never really tracked the leads coming from organic that much. We are now. So I do think organic is becoming more and more relevant. And so we are paying more attention to it and we are getting better at it, but we're certainly not great at it. So I would say we probably upload 2 long form YouTube videos per month on average. I would say I would like that to be 1 per week. But we haven't managed. I would say 2 on average we've been doing, but we have started, getting into the short form video game. So we are paying attention, or we are uploading to YouTube Shorts probably 5 times a week. And then we're also uploading to Instagram and TikTok and so forth. So we're doing the short form game and strategy, and it's going okay. It's not like huge yet, but there's some results for sure. So I'm not, I do think it's more of a long term play than with the ads. You get the customers coming in right away. With the social media, you build up an audience over time. So, yeah. In terms of strategy, what I know is that you need to make longer videos nowadays. I'm sure you know a lot more about this than I do, but we used to make these 3-4 minute videos on YouTube, just a quick tip. And our customers would actually say they love that. And they would tell us all the other people are, talking so much without getting to the point. And so that was kind of our thing. And we continued doing that, but the views on those types of videos went down like dramatically. And so we realized that, YouTube really wants long videos so people stay on the platform. So, we now make longer videos, and that's working generally better. And we switch up the call to actions. Sometimes it's subscribe to the channel. Sometimes it is, opt into our email list, or sometimes now we also go directly to a trial and try to get them to purchase a trial directly. So we mix that up.
Okay. So, I mean, it's interesting because it sounds like the main motivation behind the YouTube was more of nurturing your existing audience. I'm on your email newsletter, and I've noticed that typically when I get an email from you, it's linking to a new YouTube video that's very interesting and valuable. As far as
if we're not selling something, yeah. So it's a mix of free videos going to YouTube and us selling our products. Yeah.
As far as the short form goes, you mentioned Shorts and Instagram and TikTok. Like, are you uploading the exact same video to all 3 places?
Yes, we are. It's probably not optimal, I would say, at the moment, because we don't have the, bandwidth to do better at that. What we do at the moment is I think we optimize more to Instagram, because that is what I feel is most promising. But, it's early in that game. We're not the big experts at that, but so we're starting to get better at it. But I do see some sales coming from Instagram Shorts. TikTok is barely any sales so far.
Another thing that really strikes me about your videos is that you are not always the one that's in the video. And I think a lot of people would enjoy having other people be the face of the video and so on. Like, how did you get to a point where you didn't have to be the one on video?
Yeah, it was a combination of 2 things, right? So I had this idea anyways of building a team of instructors. I always wanted to get into coaches education, coaches training. And so I brought on 1 additional instructor. Let me guess. I don't know, 2015, 16, something like that. Probably 2015, maybe. And so I had him then make some videos, and then he was teaching in-person clinics and private lessons for us, and we'd get a profit share basically. And also in tennis, I do think having an exclusively online business is very limited, because the biggest objection in our market is, how am I going to improve without a coach standing next to me? So I realized that at some point, and I also like the interaction with the tennis players and being on the court, and I didn't want it to be an entirely remote business. So, then it was just logical. But on top of that, I already knew, my body was so significantly limited in the ability to be on the court all day, that it was just kind of was clear to me that I needed to bring on other instructors. And yeah, so I started that slowly, and from the start, we were able to charge high rates for our in-person instruction, because we had built a brand of being very strong at teaching technique. That's what we specialize in. So I would say if anybody's starting, you want to specialize in something. Like within our market, we're known as the best teaching technique. That's just what people come to us for, what they know us for, and what we keep hearing all the time. And so if you specialize in something, if you're really, and there's people that want that, then you can charge, right? And so we started charging, for in-person instruction in a group setting. We would charge from the start. We charged $600 per day. Would take 4 people, so we would have 2,400 in revenue in a day. And then I had one instructor running it, or maybe in the beginning I was running it with one other instructor. And so, I think that was a good move. And we saw quickly that business was doing well, that in-person instruction. There was demand for it. And so then I started bringing on more instructors, and then it was just clear that they needed to make videos, because in the beginning, everybody wanted to train with me, but we needed to get them out there and show that they also know their stuff, such that we could then, fill the in-person instruction with them. So yeah, that's how that developed. And we're, next step is definitely going to be to have an official coaches education program where they can get certified in our OTI method, and where it's not just people that actually work for me, but it's also just any tennis instructor out there, or even any tennis enthusiast who wants to learn more about it, can then take that certification online, or it's probably going to be a combination of online and in person.
Like I said, I think a lot of people like the idea of not always having to be the one on camera, but they would have a lot of objections to that. Obviously, finding the right people would be a big objection. But another big objection would be a lack of trust and familiarity with somebody else, right? So let's just talk about the online piece for a second with that. Like, did you see any resistance from your audience with having other people in the videos being like, oh, well, this isn't Florian, I'm not going to watch this?
In the beginning, there were certainly some comments on YouTube like that, that in that direction, where this is not as good as Florian and things like that. There were some comments, but I really trained the guys. The first guy I brought on, I knew him. We had worked together at a tennis club, and so in the beginning, I ran all of the clinics together with him, and so he was working by my side for like a year. And we were doing a lot together. And so he just learned it by osmosis, basically, right? So I made sure I trained the guys well. And then the next guy I brought on, I knew was already very knowledgeable, because he had worked for a guy that I had worked for. And he contacted me after he left there, having seen my online videos. And then I knew he had a really good base knowledge, and it just needed to, make some adjustments in terms of our specializations, how we teach. And then after that, we brought on a young guy who was 16, 17, who was super keen on learning this stuff. And he ended up becoming a great instructor as well. But it took him a lot longer, because he was starting from he just hung around for a long time. And now he's a great instructor and also making really good money teaching this.
Would you mind, Florian, sharing some rough numbers from your business so we can get a concept of how the business is going overall, and then like a breakdown of like the in-person versus online, because you have that unique component to your quote unquote online course business, is that you also do these in-person clinics because of the nature of your niche.
Yeah, so I'm not going to share exact numbers, but we're doing low 7-figure revenues, closer to 7 than to 8. We have an email list of about 120,000 that we email on a regular basis. We have in our email software, we have over now 350,000 contacts, but a lot of these people we don't email anymore, because the business has been going for a long time, and then people just drop off and they stop playing tennis and they're not interested anymore. So, about 120,000 that we email on a regular basis, low 7-figure revenues. And, COVID was a problem for us, obviously, with the in-person instruction. So it's been about 50-50 for the most part between the digital and the in-person on average over the last couple of years. It varied a little bit. COVID was an influence factor. And then after that, some factors, but it's been around 50% over the last couple of years, 50-50.
Okay, so 50-50. I imagine the profit margins are quite a bit higher on the online side. What would happen if you just completely eliminated the in-person?
Yeah, well, you're right that the profit margins are significantly higher, and so that's why we're working hard on figuring out how to grow the online side effectively, which is a really hard task because, and I don't think anybody in our market has grown, at least not an 8-figure business with online coaching, or probably not even. I don't think anybody's done more than 3 million a year with online coaching in our market digitally, and it is because improving a tennis player, helping a tennis player improve with online coaching is more challenging than maybe the piano is or some other things that you can, fitness, for example, right? The online fitness market has exploded because it's relatively easy to teach somebody how to, get fitter with online videos. You show them the exercises, you show them what to do, what not to do. For a tennis player to improve his or her serve or forehand with an online course, you will always, if it's just an online course, you will have a relatively small percentage of people that succeed because they need to take action and it's not customized, and everybody's problems on the serve or the forehand are different. There are common problems that we see over and over, but, I could tell one player to do X on their serve and the other player, same thing. And for one player, it makes the serve better. For the other player, it could make it worse. The same drill. So, that's problematic. And so we are working hard on figuring out how to get that success rate up on the digital side, such that we have, very high rate of repeat purchase and lifetime value of the customer and so forth. So that's why I think it's been more challenging to grow the digital side than the in-person side so far.
So look, we have some people watching live that are in my coaching program, and I invited them to pose questions for you as they may come up. And we got a question here from Jason that I'd like to run by you. He says, it sounds like YouTube is the number one lead generation source, and there's 5 years worth of history there. And I believe there's actually 12 years of history there. He says, would you mind sharing the impact of pausing YouTube ads these last 6 months?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah. The impact has been a slight decline in revenue on the digital side, but not as massive as I would have thought. And we have increased our lifetime value a little bit. We've made some changes. As I said, we're in the middle of making some big changes on the product and pricing structure. So the we used to get, when we're running ads in the summer, we would get, per week, probably 20 new customers, something like that, 20, 30 from YouTube ads. And at the moment, without ads, we're probably only getting 5 or 6, 7 new customers just from organic traffic. Actually, no, sorry. It's around 10 probably at the moment. And it used to be around 10 per week. So we'd be right around 40 per month with ads. And so, we're not at the moment, we're stagnating a little bit, which is at the moment by definition though, because I really wanted to improve the product to get the success rate up. I did a lot of work there the last 2 years. And we now have a really good system in place with a very high success rate with a digital product. I'm very happy with that. Now we're making the product and pricing changes. And once that is ready to go, which will be soon, then we'll start to turn the ads back up. So it's been a slight negative in terms of the revenue, but it's not been like dramatic drop off.
So now you've mentioned the kind of redoing the overall strategy with the offer and the pricing a couple of times now. Would you mind talking about that a little bit in terms of what your strategy was, why you feel like it's time for a change, and kind of what you're thinking about doing going forward?
Yeah, so the strategy was to sell online courses individually for, $97, $197, $47, anything like that. And we're moving away from that, and we're now essentially giving players more coaching. So it's less of, hey, here's an online course with 40 videos. It's more like, you join our subscription now, and we really coach you. Like, we really, our coaching team works closely with you, and that's how we get a higher success rate with the people that join. But for that, we also need to charge higher prices because we have more costs. So basically, I'm moving in the direction of what works best for the customer. And I'm not moving in the direction of what's most scalable, like, which is kind of in the beginning, that's like a typical train of thought. I want to have something that is very passive, very scalable, like these online courses. But because of the way the tennis market is, where it's just really hard for people to improve a lot with, here's 20, 30, 40 videos to work on your game without personalized coaching. So now our product structure is going to be a lot more around personalized coaching in combination with training videos that come from our online courses.
So when I go to your website today, at the time of recording this, the main thing I can buy on your website as far as a digital product goes would be this all access pass to all of your programs. And there's a couple of tiers. Looks like the higher tier includes some additional coaching. Is that kind of the new strategy right there, or are there more changes coming?
That was our starting point that we started like 6 months ago when we first wanted to move in this direction. Now we're going to change it up and sell it a little bit differently as well. But that was the starting point. And what you see there is the basic version does not include any personalized coaching, and the premium version does. So the basic version there is still, basically online course access, but we also have Zoom classes that are live, for the members and so forth. But yeah, so that was the starting point. Now we're changing it up again a little bit. And also, but primarily what we're also changing is how we run our ads, how we bring people in. So, we're going to move to a webinar structure there and sell through a webinar, basically going for a higher price from the start, basically.
Yeah, very nice. Webinars are still working. I still use webinars myself for both of my businesses. I think that's a great overall strategy. I mean, I'm looking at the pricing on your website right now, and it seems like a deal, Florian. I mean, I could get in at $197 for the year and get everything, or I could bump up to $297 and get everything plus the personalized video review every month. I mean, it sounds like a slam dunk of a deal, but as you alluded to, that's going up.
Yeah, and we're gonna adjust a little bit. Well, there's gonna be different tiers of how much personalized feedback you get, basically, right? So every level is going to involve personalized feedback, and there's going to be different levels of how much, and then the price points.
One thing that had a big impact on my business many years ago was adding in urgency and really doing it on an evergreen basis. Really adding an evergreen funnel for the first time really took my business to new heights. Are you giving people, or do you plan to give people a good reason to buy now? Like I said, I'm on your website now, and it looks like I can sign up for this all access pass right now. Do you have limited time offers? Do you have evergreen deadlines? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so our old funnels were just that. You would get a course that would cost $147 on the website, and you would be able to buy it for $47. And you would opt into our email list, and then you would have that offer for like 10 days, basically, right? That was the old system. And so now we're basically putting together a special webinar offer that's only going to be available in the webinar, where you get a much better deal than on the website, such that we can then have that limited availability through the webinar because it's such a special deal. You get the premium level for the basic price or something like that, right? And that's going to be that essentially. Yes.
And when you say webinar, you're talking about pre-recorded, right? Are you planning on doing any live webinars?
I might do it live a few times just to, get the hang of it. I do think I'll be very good at it, to be honest. So I think doing it live a couple of times, you improve. But I don't plan on doing a webinar every week, in the long run. Well, we'll see. It's new. We've never done I've never done a single webinar so far. So
really, you've been doing this for 12 years?
We've done Zoom calls with our customers, right? But I have not sold on a webinar, not a single time.
You know what happened the first time I did a live webinar many years ago? You know how many I sold?
0? 1?
Yeah. Yeah. You know what happened the second time I did a live webinar?
Probably you did better.
Yeah, I still sold 0. I think I sold 0 on the third one, probably the fourth one as well.
Really?
It
Wow.
was, it was like probably 2015. Webinars were really like live webinars were really becoming the thing. Their software Webinar Jam had just come out. I had signed up for the lifetime deal and they just promoted it. And that's when I do a live webinar, that's still what I use. And I don't pay for it anymore because I got that lifetime deal back in the day. But everybody was talking about how amazing live webinars were. But I guess I didn't really learn how to do it. And I would just like go on live. Not many people would be there. And I would just like teach a little bit and then be like, here's my offer. But once I kind of figured out the formula on how to promote it, how to get people to actually attend, and then how to structure the webinar, then I started selling on live webinars. So they can be very effective. And I love that you are willing to do them live first before you go evergreen. That's how you can really learn what's working and get that really nice version to have that's pre-recorded up on your website.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, anything you do, I think you have to do, I think the success is always in like the last 10%, anything you do in the funnels and everything, everybody can put a funnel together, but who can put a great funnel together, and I feel like the rewards are always kind of at the top, right? And so I'm going to have to just put a lot of effort into this. And we have already done, I mean, we have consultants who help with that, who are very experienced, who've done a lot of webinar stuff. And, I read a couple books. Jason Fladlien has a book on webinars that was recommended. I read that. And so I've structured the whole thing. Right now we're putting it into a presentation. So we're putting in the work. At the moment, it's just, there's a lot going on in the business. I had a lot of change in the team, which I don't have enough time to, devote to the webinar as much as I would like to. So it's been going on for a little too long. I like to get things live. And so I'm not too happy with the speed of how this is moving forward. But, there were factors I just couldn't control. People leaving the company because of personal issues and things of that nature. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now more than
To test
ever.
it out.
Yeah, for sure. And now more than ever, it's important to make it great, like you alluded to, right? 10 years ago, like maybe it didn't have to be as good as it does today. You mentioned earlier standing out with, like, for example, your OTI method, right? You've got to have your specialty that people come to you for, and then your presentation has to be great and just really stand out overall now more than ever. No pressure or anything, but you know that.
No, that's fine. I'll do it often enough until it's good. And I do think I have one thing working for me, which is you can't believe in your product more than I believe in my product. That's really, I would say, I'm at the max there. So I really truly believe in this and want to get the word out and want to make this available, to everybody who wants to improve their game. So I do think that probably hopefully shines through on a webinar, when you really believe that your thing works. But we'll find out.
When you have been doing this as long as we have been doing it, it's really easy to be biased by the, in your case, the past 12 years of doing this. What would it look like for you if you had to start over? If you hadn't done this but you know what you know, and you were starting in 2024, rather than trying to revamp a 7-figure business, which is what you're doing right now. If you're starting from scratch, what would those steps look like?
Yeah, I mean, probably free content, but probably shorts, a lot of shorts. I see some tennis coaches on Instagram who are really crushing it with, and we as a company, and we have multiple instructors, we didn't focus on this, but we now have like 55,000 followers maybe on Instagram, something like that. I see some tennis coaches who are just doing it by themselves who have like 200,000 and more on Instagram. And because they do it every day and they've really figured it out, and so I think I would probably, if I were starting by myself, I would probably try to really master that game, on Instagram, but YouTube as well, for sure. YouTube Shorts but YouTube Long. Still, I think YouTube Long probably brings the best customers, right? Because they're more committed. The people who watch Shorts, I really don't know how much that translates into sales. It's really hard for me to tell. I don't know if you have any insight on that, but I still think YouTube Long is just, you just have to be much better at the videos And I haven't produced a YouTube long video in like 7 years myself, to be honest. And that had to do with health issues that I was dealing with. And then I really transitioned into being the business guy and not the tennis guy more in the last couple of years. I actually want to get back out now and start filming some YouTube long videos again myself, because the game has changed and I would like to see, what I can do there. So I would definitely start with that, free content model. I mean, Hormozy has put a lot of stuff out there these days. You can find so much on YouTube. Alex definitely, I think, is amazing at that stuff. I would start with that, and then I would still build an email list for sure, because I still haven't found anything that's as valuable as an email list in terms of selling product. We run promotions. Still, most of our sales come from email and not from our 120,000 YouTube subscribers or 55,000 Instagram subscribers. So I would definitely build that email list. And then I would, product, I would do different. I would do it, definitely start much smaller. If I was a beginning, I wouldn't put 60 videos in one course. I'd probably put, and I would, definitely make it very consumable, make it something that, because people are so overwhelmed, they need something that they can quickly execute on and have that first win. That is so important. And when you sell courses with 60 videos in them, a lot of people might be overwhelmed. So I would really focus on, I still think a great business is built by a great product in the long run. I don't think you can market your way out of a bad product. So I would really focus on having a great first product that is small, that I can put together, but that is really gets some sort of a specific win that, people can put their finger on, people can measure. I have more power on my serve, right, in our market. Okay, I took this course, I did these, I looked at these, let's say 10 videos, and I did these 3 drills, and now I have 5 miles per hour more on my serve, right? And now the person trusts me, and now I can go into, something else. In the long run, I think nowadays you really have to have great lifetime value of the customer. I think there's no way around it, because advertising prices are up, and just going to keep going up. So without a really high lifetime value of the customer, if you want to build a big business, if you want to be a content creator and just make a living, then, that short form video stuff, and create an email list, and then make that first product that you can sell maybe at a low price. That will be like still the first steps, in my opinion.
That's great advice. You mentioned that you thought of the brand name because of search engine optimization. Do you think you would choose the same brand name today?
Absolutely not. No, no, I definitely have a different name.
What would it be? Do you have any ideas?
It would probably be like the XYZ method, and then I would come up with something that XYZ, what it stands for, Probably be something like that. I've seen that do well in golf. Golf is a much bigger market than tennis. So I've looked a lot at the golf market, and, things like that can do well there. So, and then I would think about what we stand for, and then come up with an acronym or something like that. And then XYZ method, something like that, probably. But the name is really not that important, in my opinion. People know us. Online tennis instruction is super long. Our customers don't call us online tennis instruction. They call us OTI, right? And so that's what we put on our logo. And is it the best name in the world? No, but I don't think it really plays that big of a role.
So yeah, brand name is not the most important thing. What is the most important thing?
Well, you have to have a great product, and you have to get the word out for people to, know about your product. So that's right. That's what business comes down to. So develop a great product, and I think people get into stuff that, if you're getting into stuff that you're not a super expert on yet, I guess then you can document your journey to becoming an expert. You can do that. I think, Gary Vee has talked a lot about that. I think I had the advantage of, I was already extremely good at what I was doing, teaching tennis players to improve their serve, forehand, backhand, when I got started, because I knew nothing about internet marketing, even though I had a business degree and I had worked in investment banking, but I knew nothing about internet marketing when I started. So yeah, great product, and then find a way to get the word out. And, there's a lot of ways, but, and every market is different. I think, for us, YouTube is still really big, and I'm sure there's TikTok might be, if your product is for younger people, or, your TikTok might be the way to go, I don't know, or something else.
Amazing. That's fantastic advice, Florian. I appreciate you sharing that with us. I know a lot of people that maybe haven't started yet will appreciate hearing that advice because it is somewhat of a minimal approach to it. It's not overly complicated. You have this idea of something you want to teach, you want to get out there. Here's kind of the high level things I would make sure I would hit. And somebody could get up and running with the strategy you're presenting in a few months and not have to wait the years that you did to see any results.
Yeah, and you can see the first results by gaining views and subscribers, right? So I did also, when I started, I did see that. I didn't see revenue results, but that if your views are going up, you're doing something right. It's basically, that's the first measurement you can look for. And if you have a big audience, you can always find a way to monetize it. I mean, having your own product is probably the best thing you can do, and I would definitely recommend it if you can. But you can also promote other people's products, or you can do brand deals. And we're not great at that. We should probably be doing some of that stuff. We haven't, because we've focused so much on our product. But yeah, so you don't need to, you have to find a way to get an audience. That's step number one. Get people's attention and then sell them something.
Amazing. Well, look, Florian, this has been a pleasure, man. Appreciate you coming on and sharing all the wisdom with me and with the audience. We'll have to catch up again soon and hear how the new strategy is working out in maybe a few months. Okay.
Yeah, sure thing. Thanks for having me, Jacques. Really enjoyed it. And I've been at it for a few years, just like you. So I guess it was time to share some of the things I've learned.
Amazing. Thanks, Florian.
Thanks.
All right, that's a wrap on that conversation. I hope you enjoyed it like I did. Thank you so much to Florian, and thank you out there for listening. We have show notes, we have links. Anything we reference that you want to see, you want to click on, you want to read more about, you can find those by going to oc.show/232. So thank you again for tuning in here today, but don't forget to take action on what you've learned today. Don't just passively listen. Don't just take this in as entertainment. Take action on what you heard here today. I'm rooting for you.